the fact is that all the signs are that the plan has already, in some senses, begun. That's what our American friends think, and you're seeing these provocations now in Donbass. You're starting to see this, these explosions and so on that we've been warning about for a long time. And I'm afraid to say that the plan that we're seeing is for something that could be really the biggest war in Europe since 1945, just in terms of sheer scale. You're looking at not just an invasion through the east, through the Donbass, but according to the intelligence that we're seeing, coming down from the north, down from Belarus, and actually encircling Kiev itself. I think people need to understand the sheer cost in human life that could entail, not just for Ukrainians, but also for Russians and for young Russians.
President Putin has around 150,000 troops massed on those borders. He has the attention of every Western leader already. There are already questions about whether Ukraine could ever join NATO. Hasn't he won already?
I think that he's certainly got everybody fixated on this question, but no, he hasn't, because what matters is the sovereignty and independence of Ukraine. And it is still the right of the Ukrainian people to decide what alliance they want to join, where they want to go, what their aspirations.
They don't have much choice, though. If President Putin decides to invade Ukraine, they've got no military support. The West has been very clear that if the Russians invade, the West are not going to be in there fighting with them.
Well, what the West has also said, and what the UK has said, is that we will support to the extent that we can, and we've been already giving them training through Operation Orbital, as you know. We've trained 22,000 Ukrainian troops,
and we've taken those soldiers out again.
But there, the 22,000 people who've been trained. We've given them 2,000 anti-tank weapons, the NLAWs, as you know.
It's not enough against the Russian army, though, is it?
Your fundamental point is right. It is true to say that in 2008, the West and NATO could have made a decision to put Ukraine firmly on the path towards NATO membership. That didn't happen. So we have to use the tools that we have. And those tools are economic sanctions against Russia. And the role of the UK has been to make sure that we impose the toughest possible sanctions, and that's what we're going to do. And we have to accept at the moment that Vladimir Putin is possibly thinking illogically about this and doesn't see the disaster ahead. Ukraine has already been engaged in conflict with Russians or Russian separatists in the east of the country for 8 years now. They are inured to violence. They know about fighting. I believe that they will fight. I believe it will be a bloody and a protracted conflict. And what I would say to President Putin is, now is the moment to pull back.
Bloody conflict, you say, but the message to Ukrainians is that if he does invade, they will be on their own. President Zelensky has accused the West today of appeasement.
I don't think that that's fair. I think that what we're trying to do is offer every possible support to Ukraine and to make sure that we hit Russia with the hardest possible package of economic sanctions. Vital point, what we're also doing is fortifying the eastern flank of NATO. So I think in Putin's imagination, a lot of his anxiety is about NATO and what he sees as the encroachment of NATO since the end of the Cold War. And I think what he wants to see is NATO push back. And he's going to see the exact opposite. If he thinks he's going to get less NATO as a result of this, he's totally wrong. He's going to get more NATO.
Does that mean that you think that if Russia invades Ukraine, it could spill further, that they could invade other countries?
We still don't know what's going to happen. There's one person who knows what's going to happen. You asked at the beginning, is an invasion now inevitable? I can't look into the mind of Vladimir Putin. I can't peer into his soul. It's all down to him. But if he goes ahead and invades a sovereign European country, if he imposes maximum violence on Ukraine and at least temporarily succeeds, then that will be seen around the world. And I'm afraid people will draw the false conclusion that might is right and that aggression pays. And so what we've got to ensure is that it doesn't pay off. And even if a lightning war is initially successful, that over time, through our economic might, through all the pressure we can bring, we make sure that this venture does not succeed.